Hello, welcome back to Cracking the Cryptic. Now, what have you found yourself watching? Well, Cracking the Cryptic is a channel on YouTube where my friend Simon and myself each post a video every day, one each, solving normally a variant Sudoku puzzle. We were named for the fact that we started out in cryptic crosswords, and we still do one of those every Friday on the channel, and another one on Patreon, but each month. But mostly we're solving variant Sudoku, and we will explain the rules of each puzzle before we attempt it. But then you get to watch us attempt these, and you can also see how you get on by playing them in our software on one of the links under the video. And it's a great little corner of the internet where people are incredibly nice and friendly for the most part, apart from when they occasionally point out how dumb I am, which is perfectly reasonable. Who am I? I'm Mark Goodliffe. Fairly well known in the field of competitive crossword solving. Also, I once came 21st in the world at Sudoku, so not too bad at that. But what are we doing today? We're going to be looking at a recommendation from friend of the channel, Philip Bloomer, known as Glum Hippo, who has recommended a puzzle by another friend of the channel, Akash Dulani. Apparently this came from Akash's blog, and Philip spotted it there and says, not too hard, but really clever. So I'm looking forward to giving this a go. There is a skyscraper rule in it, and I have a fantastic animation from Chain Bear to use to show you what that means. And it's worth seeing just for that. On Patreon, we have extra content, including a Sudoku hunt starting on the 1st of each month. June's is Itrio's brilliant yin-yang hunt. And there's other content on Patreon, including crosswords and connections videos. And of course, we have apps and merch, all linked under the video, including Arrow Sudoku. And Fog of War, our latest one. And the merch includes the 2025 t-shirt. And you can also support SVEN'S SUDOKU PAD, the marvellous software that we solve these puzzles in. Now I am going to go through the rules of this particular puzzle, which is called Arrow Skyscraper Hybrid Sudoku by Akash Dulani. Akash was setting puzzles many years ago when the names were very descriptive of the puzzles, because they often appeared in championships and things like that. Now, the rules are normal Sudoku rules apply, which is placing 1 to 9 once each in every row, every column, and every 3x3 box within the grid. Here we're going to put some numbers outside the grid as well. Don't worry about those for now. There are some arrow shapes in the grid, and the sum of the digits along the path of each arrow must equal the digit in the circled cell. Obviously, where arrows cross, they run straight. So those digits will add up to the circle. Now I will tell you about digits outside the puzzle. Basically, what you have to imagine is that every digit in the completed 9x9 grid represents a skyscraper of the height of that digit. So the 5 that we're given in the middle is a 5-high skyscraper. You can call it 500 meters or something. I don't know what would be a normal height for a skyscraper. It doesn't matter. The point is that as you look from one vantage point outside the grid along the row or column that you're looking along, you will see a number of other skyscrapers. And the ones that you can see that aren't blocked by taller buildings in front of them, you have to add up how many you can see, and that's the number outside the grid. So look at this animation by Chain Bear, which shows you for a given row what the skyscraper totals at each end would be. And that's a useful guide. One thing I will say is that any row or column that begins with a 9 must have a 1 clue as its skyscraper clue. Now, in this puzzle, we're not asked to enter all the skyscraper numbers, but every row and column will have a number if you wanted to associate it with that row or column. But the ones that are going to matter are the ones in circles or on arrows. I mean, it's a fascinating idea, classic Akash Dulani, to combine 2 rule sets in this way. Some very long arrows, I will add as well. But I'm going to give this a go now. Do try it on that first link under the video. And I'm going to start now. Let's get cracking. So, let's start with the really long arrows. This circle sees 2 digits there that are at a minimum the numbers 1 and 2. Those are the minimum Sudoku digits. They're in the same box. They can't repeat. There, at least 1 and 2 again. Now we're up to 6. Here, a minimum 1. And these skyscraper clues, they have to see at least one building. So they're minimum 1. And now I've counted up to 8 for the minimum. So the number going into this circle is 8 or 9. Each segment of this line has 1 degree of freedom. So the 1 that we postulated there could go up to 2. The 1 and 2 that add up to 3 here could go up to 4, and they could be 1, 2 or 1, 3. They must include a 1. I'm going to mark that in the corner. And this is telling me that in this box, the possible positions for 1 are those 2. The numbers in the center of the cells are telling me what the candidates for that particular cell are. And we can do the same there. Now, let's try this going the other way. 1 and 2 there, 1 and 2 here. That's 6. Plus 1 plus 1 plus 1. I should have started on this side. That is the absolute minimum, is 9. So that's what's going on. A 1-2 combination there. In fact, we know which way round they go, thanks to getting this one. Now we know which way round they go there. This is a 9. One of these is going to have to invoke the degree of freedom. Now, this digit sees a 1 in the puzzle. So it can't be a 1. But one of these 2 digits in this box had to be a 1. So it's going to be that one that is. This one, don't know if we use the degree of freedom. This cell sees a 2 there. That becomes a 1, and we didn't use the degree of freedom. Oh, we're going to use it here, in fact. That can't be a 1. Let's do that first. So this is a 1. We're going to use the degree of freedom here, because this can't be a 1. I told you that if you see a 9 first in the column, then the clue, the skyscraper clue, is a 1, because that 9 will be the only building it sees. What I didn't tell you was that the corollary is true, that if you don't see a 9 first, you can't have a clue of 1. And that's because you must see the 9 later, after the first building, and therefore you wouldn't have a clue of 1. So that clue is a 2. And now these have lost the degree of freedom. They have to be minimized. And I think we'll find that these digits add up to 9. They do. And that 9 was a great way into the puzzle. Now, let's do a bit of Sudoku. Look at these 1s that we've got highlighted in the puzzle. They're going to leave us with 2 1s to fill in the grid in these possible cells. Now, can this be a 1 in the circle? No, because these are genuine skyscraper clues. They must be at least a 1 each, so that can't be a 1, because 1 plus 1 equals more than 1. So we can fill in the last 2 1s, and we're done with 1s. Well, we're done with 1s in the grid. We might have some outside the grid still to come. Now, I don't think this can be a 2, because there are numbers in every cell on this arrow, so we can fill in the 2 in column 3 there. There's a 2 in one of those 2 cells in box 5 by Sudoku, because it's eliminated from the other cells by those 2s. I don't know where the 2 is in box 9. Maybe I should. There's a 2 in one of those 2 cells. Again, I don't know where it goes here. I'm not trying to use this 2 yet. All I know it means is that whatever digit is here, between that and the 9 that must eventually appear in the column, there are only digits lower than whatever this digit is. Now, that's not positive information yet. Now, maybe I think about this. That's going to see this digit. This one can't be a 9, because that would add up to 10, and this can't be a 10. It can only see a maximum of 9 items this way. Now, if that, there are a lot of things this can't be. If it was an 8, this would be a 9, but 9 there would imply we saw buildings 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 in order. And that wouldn't be happening with an 8 there. And I think that's going to apply to 7 and 6. If this was a 7, that would be an 8, but you'd only see a maximum of 4 buildings. If that was a 6, that would be a 7, but you'd only see a maximum of 5. If this was a 5, this would be a 6. And then that is just possible. So that's at most a 5. This now is 6, 5, 4, or 3. But what's it adding up on the other arrow? This digit is at least 3 because it sees a 1 and a 2. This digit is at least 3 because it sees a 1 and a 2. And that's it. They must max out, or min out at 3, and this maxes out at 6. And there we go. And now we do know that in this row, as we look along it, we start with 1, 5. The next, well, when we get to the higher buildings than 5, we must see them in order. 6 in one of those, then, no, one of those 4, then 7 in one of those 4, 8 in one of those 4, and 9 in one of the last 4. That's probably not worth pencil marking. Let's just try and remember that this is an interesting row, maybe a little bit of colour. And that was a useful digit, a useful arrow to be looking at next. If that was an 8, this would be a 2, and that would be a 6. That's not very interesting. Okay, this digit is at least a 3. That one is at least a 2. That's 5 already on this arrow. Now, these two can't both be 1s because the only way you get a 1 is with a 9. In fact, neither of these can be a 9. So these must both be at least 2. They could both be 2, I think. Let's imagine that they are both 2, and that's a 2, and that's a 3. That's the minimum for everything. That adds up to 9. So that's what's going on. 2's in all those positions, a 3 there, that's a 9. Gosh, this is quite complicated. Now, again, we have this issue where, like that 2, after the first building scene, you must hit the 9 before you see any other taller building. I'm not going to fill anything in. Now, we've done well on 2's now. There's a 2 remaining in one of those cells. There's now a 2 in one of these 2. And in one of these 4. What about this arrow? Because that digit's at least a 3, and this one's at least a 2. So we're already up to 3, 1, and 2 is 6. This must be, it's not a 1 because the 9 in the column is up there. So this is at least a 2. So we're getting to at least 8 here. And in fact, we can't get to 9, so that is an 8. And it's kind of maxed out. This one has to be a 2. This one has to be a 2, and this one has to be a 3. 3, 5, 7, 8. We've done it again. Okay, good. You can see why Philip liked this puzzle. I mean, it's just really elegant. Each long arrow, or even semi-long arrow now, is really quite interesting. 3 in column 7 has to be there. There's nowhere else for it to go. One of those is going to be a 3 in the box 1. Oh, that 8 was in this yellow strand where we're going to have to meet 6 and then 7 and then 8 and then 9. Well, that's all got a bit condensed now, and the pencil marks are useful. This digit sees 1, 2, 3, 8, 9. So it's 4, 5, 6, or 7. This digit is at least 4 because it sees 1, 2, and 3 in the row. So the difference between those is maximum 3, minimum 1, and this digit can't be a 1 because that's not a 9. So this is 2 or 3. Now this can't be 6 because we must have a difference of 2 or 3 between those. This can't be 4 or 5. And we're faced with the possibility of a fourth 2 looking from the top, which is a little surprising but not actually impossible. Here, we're not going to see 9 first up, so that's at least a 2. This digit sees 1, 2, and 3, so that's at least a 4. So the minimum here is 6 again. That wasn't quite as helpful. And now there's only some tiny arrows left. This one can't be 1, 2, 3, or 5. If it was a 4, do you know, I think that's weirdly possible. These could both be 2s. It could see a 9 in that direction and a 9 in that direction. So I don't know there. Okay, maybe it's time for doing some Sudoku. We've got a 9 in one of those 2 cells. We've got lots of 1, 2, 3s and 9s knocking around in the puzzle, and especially at the top. 2 is in one of those 2. How come I've not marked that before? I don't know. Oh, because it only popped up on this arrow. Yeah, I mean, we've also got to... Oh, that 1 looking into the grid means this is a 9. I'd forgotten that. I told you the rule and then forgot to apply it. Right, that places 9 on this yellow strand, where I'm taking much of the yellow away now. We've got a 9 in one of those 2 cells. Yeah, I don't know quite what to do with 9s after that. That's not a 9. This digit is the same as that, which is not 1, 2, 8, 9, or 3. It sees that 3 in one position. So this is 4, 5, 6, or 7. So from looking this way as a skyscraper clue, that has to see at least 4 buildings. So the first one it sees can't be higher than a 6 if it's going to see at least 4 buildings. That would potentially then see 7, 8, or 9 after that. It's a bit difficult to play with that clue. We did that 1. We've got all these 2s looking down from the top. Now, where are they going to find their 9s? That's... Yeah, I mean, this is... And this one is a 2 or a 3. Now, this digit can't be higher than that because it's on the arrow for this circle. So since those contribute to this sum, it must be lower. So this must be a 3 outside the grid. What was I doing on this arrow? I needed a... Oh, I need a difference of 2 between those. Now I need a difference of 3 between them. So they are 4 and 7, just like that. And this is going to see a difference of 3 because we've got to put in a digit lower than this one here. In fact, what is this digit? It's not 49172 or 3. It's got to be lower than the circle. So that's 5 or 6. Now the difference here between 5 or 6 and 6 or 8 is 1, 2, or 3. Well, we can't put a 1 here because it's not a 9 first. It's either 2 or 3. If it was 3, that couldn't be 8. That would be a 6. But then this arrow wouldn't work. So that's a 2, again, outside the grid. And now this can't be a 6, or you'd see 3 buildings at least in the row. So that has to be 8. That makes this a 6 by adding up the arrow. We've got a 3, 5 pair there. We're going to get a 5 in one of those cells and a 5 there in the grid. As we look down this column, we can remove 6 from these cells. Could even put in the candidates for the others. There's only one place 3 can go in the column. It's there. And in this row, oh, hang on, I've missed... Sorry, that wasn't meant to be 5s. That was meant to be a 5 in the corner of one of them. In this column, this is a 4, 6, 7 triple, where this digit can't be a 7 and that one can't be a 6 because of the skyscraper rule. Now, this is 8 or 9, but it's a 2 clue, so it can't be 9. That must be 8. This pair is a 2 and a 9, and we've got a 9 further up the grid. Now this clue is fulfilled fine, because 8 must hide all of these digits until it sees 9. this digit is 4, 6, 7 or 9. It's not 9 because both of its arrow pieces would be 1. So how about 4, 6 or 7? I'm going to claim that at the moment. It's not an extensively detailed claim. This can't be 5 anymore. So with 4 or 7 in the arrow there, we've got 4 or 7 in the circle here. 7 is not possible anymore, because even if that was 4, you could only see a maximum 4 digits. A maximum 6 digits, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that is a 4. This is a 4. By Sudoku that becomes a 5. We get a 7 in the corner. We can place 5 and 6 and we've finished box 7. And then we can finish box 1. This is a 7, 8 pair. This is a 3, 4, 6 pair. That's not allowed to be 3. Now in this row we're going to see 5 and then 3 out of 6, 7, 8, 9 in ascending order. All I know about that is that 9 can't come here, which is not big info. Actually, 9 is confined to one of those 2 cells, I've just noticed. I'm going to make some marks around the grid where we've got clues on the outside. I can do it in the clue. That's been fulfilled, because we know that 8 and 9 will be all we see. There, that 8 and 9 has been fulfilled. This 1 has been fulfilled. That 3 has been. This 6, well, it will be once we get 6 and 7 done. Let's not mark that off yet. Oh, this can't be 7 now. We've got a 4, 6, 9 triple down here. I don't think any of the other clues outside the grid have been fulfilled. This is a 7, 8 pair. Just looking for some Sudoku to do. There's a 5 in one of those cells. Now, 1, 3, 9, 2. We've got a 5 in one of those. I don't know quite what to do. Right, in this column, look, 9 is a long way down. Everything here must be hidden behind that. And this is at least 1, 2, 4, 5, 6. So this digit must be at least 7. It's a big skyscraper. In fact, it must be 8, because where else can 8 be in the column? It's not marked as possible here. That must be the 8. And a 2 outside, this clue is now fulfilled. A 2 outside the grid is always possible if it starts with an 8. But if it doesn't, there's not so many things being hidden. Here we have a 5 and a 7, and the 2 clues again. Now, this can't be 9. I'll tell you that because if this was 5 or 7, we would see an 8 at some point in this column. So that would be 1, at least a second, and the 9, a third, and that 2 would be wrong. So this can't be 9. We can put 9 in this cell. Then we can place it in box 1 in quite an interesting position. All that means is that this digit is lower than that. What have we got to place in this row? Oh, we know that's a 5. I'd forgotten that. This is a 4, 6 pair. This is an 8, and we must know that now. That sorts out 7 and 8 down here. We've got a 4, 6 pair in this final column. That's 4 or 6 as well. So this has to hide that. So all I know from that is this doesn't go 5, 6. Now this cell has to hide everything until we reach a 9 in one of those 2 cells. Well, whether it's 5 or 7, it's certainly already hiding those digits. This one, though, can't be hidden so easily. It has to be below 7, and it's not 1, 2, or 3. So that's 4, 5, or 6. We don't quite know where it's going to find the 9. Okay, so I can't mark anything else as done yet, as far as I can see. Right, if that was a 4, these would both be 2s, and now it won't work because looking up this way, we're going to have to see something bigger than 4 in those cells. So that's a 6, that's a 4. This digit is a definite 2 because it sees those 2, and we can orange it. This one must now be a 4 on the arrow, and that means we're going to see 6, then 7, then 8, then 9, and we can fill those in. And that clue is solved. And now we can fill in 5 and 4, finish the box with 6 and 7, finish the column with a 4. This digit is not a 4. What have we got? 5, 6, 9 in these cells. Well, we know where the 5 goes based on 5s in the grid. That's a 6, 9 pair. That 4 is looking across to here. That 8 is looking across to the 7. Now we need an 8 in the central box, which is there. That fixes 9, that fixes 9, that fixes 6. And all of these buildings are hidden behind the 7. The 4 is hidden behind the 5. These 2s are fulfilled. Now, let's turn to the 4 clue, which won't see the 7, because that's hidden behind the 9. So it's got to see 5, 6, 8, 9. Well, it's going to do that whichever way round we put 4 and 6, I'm afraid. One of those is a 6 and it will be seen. So that clue's fulfilled. And we haven't even resolved these items, but it must work. That's become a 3 by Sudoku. So this is a 7. That 7 looks down here, and that's doing the yellow area, isn't it? So we get rid of the yellows. This clue is fulfilled now. It sees 1, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, which gives it a skyscraper total of 6. Now, I need a 3 in the central column. I need a 2 in the central box. I've got a 4 there, because that can't be a 6. That's going to unwind my 6s and 4s. And now I've just got 4, 6, 7 to fill in. I've oranged all the clues outside the grid, and I am done. Lovely puzzle. That's really good, isn't it? I mean, if you understand the rules, that is really doable, and I highly commend Akash's levels for good practice puzzles, good fun. And that's really clever with the long arrows. They do some work. And beautiful introduction to skyscrapers. Now, if you wanted, you could calculate skyscrapers for every other spot outside the grid. Like here we see a 4, 7, 8, 9. So that would be a 4, then a 1, then a 2, then a 3, then a 4, etc. But there's no point doing that. You don't need it to get a tick on the puzzle. And there we go. Entertainment complete. I hope that was entertaining for you. Do come back tomorrow, watch another one. We're doing Sudokus every day, as we have done for pretty much 5 years, and we hope to see you tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.